Welcome to Fried Judgment.
Reviews of independent, hard-to-find, and out-of-print board games, card games, and role-playing games.
I'm Dan.
I'm Jordan.
I'm Brian.
Enjoy.
We'll have to cut that part out.
Yes.
So these are the components for Velociraptor Cannibalism.
Small dinosaurs not included.
But if you want to buy those, go ahead because they make it all the more fun. There's the rules. And these are the individual dinosaurs. You got Iggy. Lovely little punk. You got Sprinkles. Not sure what the hell's happening there.
We don't talk.
You got the lovely demonic Brian. Airship pilot Ace. The ever classy Reginald. And lastly, Cold Cuts.
This is the Fried
No
Judgment
comment on
review for Velociraptor Cannibalism! Rah! Yeah. So anyways, madness aside, this is a game that's currently on Kickstarter.com, which is a crowdfunding site. You contribute a pledge to the project. If it succeeds, that money is used, in the case of board games, to produce the board game. And you get rewards based on how much you pledge. If it doesn't, no money is exchanged hands. So, as the quick run through, you're probably familiar with it. So what we have here, testing the ability to review current Kickstarter campaigns. So we'll see how this goes. So Velociraptor Cannibalism is a board game for, was there ever a number of players?
2 to 6 players.
2 to 6 players, there we go.
There are 6.
It should be noted, this is a playtest copy that we were sent.
We contacted the guys at Board Raptor Games. Board Raptor Games is a recent startup company made up of 6 individuals who are currently involved in the gaming industry. And it was basically just an experiment in locking them in a room and seeing what got spat out. Turns out what got spat out is Velociraptors, insanity, and, well, beauty.
Yeah, lots of baby eating. Anyway, so this is
Infanticide.
I suspect an early playtest. It looks a little bit different than the pieces they have in their video, but it kind of gets all the points across. Your components are, you have 6 play cards for the different players, which give you your stats, a wacky picture of who you are, and places to place the body parts that you find, eat, and steal. Not included are the toy dinosaurs that we bought at the mall. You do need a number of tokens to represent reproduction population. 3 different sets of cards. You have your body part cards, which show you different stat values, the location, and hilarity, like skunk legs and tentacle, thunderbird claws. We're not really sure how it works, but evolution's funny.
It should be noted that although our cards do not have art, the final production version will have them, because this is an early playtest.
Yeah.
And it should also be noted there are 2 versions that you can buy. You can either buy the print or play version like we have here. There will be a final version with all the art. Or, depending on how much you pledge, there is a physical copy which I assume will come with actual counters.
Yeah.
But frankly, cute and cuddly toy dinosaurs,
Clearly
just
the best.
fun to eat.
They're dinosaurs. So yeah, so we have the body part cards, the environment cards. These are horrible events that come up and just like screw you for the entire round, and they're used as a countdown for the game. So in the normal game you play 8 of these. Out of I think there's 10. So you're not really sure what's going to be in the deck, and once these count down, the game's over. So multi-purpose function there. And then you have the jungle deck, which includes prey, most of which have incredibly adorable pictures.
And funny flavor text.
Predators, which are horrifying but have awesome gains. And special event or personal events, which go either way. So, and so those are all shuffled together and create an interesting deck to farm from. Initial thoughts. As we mentioned, it is a play test of a print and play playtest version. So we can't really comment on the quality of the components, but there are a few things that we can bring up.
Well, gameplay-wise, there really wasn't much broken to it. Brian has a few things that he thinks on it, but I think he's just being whiny. You can have up to 6 players, and like all of the characters are actually kind of caricatures of the designers. Like when you start getting better at doing stuff, it basically comes down to who can I attack and viciously slaughter for either their children or bits and pieces of them.
This guy got farmed pretty hard too. Anyways.
But it's a fairly fun game. And with 6 players, there's a fair bit to go around.
It would be mental with 6 players. I think that would just be horrifying.
well, the baby pool would be huge because it's 3 babies per person.
You'd have like frickin'
a lot,
18 babies to go around. And it should be noted that there are 2 winning conditions. First is if you run out of global event cards, or when the last baby that has not been born and taken out of the population pool goes into someone's pool.
Or more correctly, game-ending conditions.
Yes. Well, yeah, whoever has the most babies at the end wins. I just like playing with these things. Wins.
I like the Brontosaurus. I'm not really sure where he comes from.
Male man's baby.
When a mommy and a daddy love each other very much.
Anyways.
For first impressions, I mean, this is my first experience with a print and play game, and I was actually kind of shocked for the quality. I mean, yes, we are missing some art, but I mean, the humor's there, the rules are there. I really like how everything works together. It's really fun. All right, well, I really like the gameplay, which consists of, you know, attacking your opponents, building yourself stronger, and gaining resources, which, as a nerd, is what I'm all about. You know, crush your enemies, see them dripping before you, and hear the lamentations of the women. Right?
Thank you, Conan.
Gameplay, I mean, the game was quite enjoyable. It could get really hectic and really vengeful with 6 players. It was getting a little heated even with 3, but it's I mean, it's certainly an interesting game. It was enjoyable to play. Being that it's a playtest, there are a few minor rule or card descriptions that you're not really sure what to do. I know the counterattack came up, but I don't recall ever seeing counterattack in the rules.
Yeah.
Personally, my favorite was the fact that apparently a tortoise is a mammal.
Yeah, and tortoise feet are claws, like
Front claws.
I mean, but weirdness aside, I mean that could have just kind of been a joke, but.
Well, it is a mutation, and I mean, nothing's more humorous than all of a sudden seeing a raptor sprout a couple stumpy little. Now I'm going to.
What?
You?
Yeah. The rules themselves, they were pretty straightforward. There weren't really that many times when it came up that were like, well, what do we do here? There were a few things with the environment cards as to exactly when they come up, but again, it's probably something that's been hammered out in playtests and just hasn't come through this version yet.
Yeah. There's been we do have a couple of discrepancies where certain mutation cards and body parts, we're not sure how they work in with events. Because there's an event that lowers the cost of reproduction to 300, but then there's a tail that lowers the cost of reproduction to 400. So do they stack? Do we go with the lower one? We're not 100% sure.
So, but again, I mean, it's very likely that these things have been found in playtests, and it could just be that there's another version of rules we haven't seen.
Yeah.
But
there is a version of rules we haven't seen.
There you go. So, I think the one thing that got me was the sort of attack thing, and there are 2 ends to this. So you have predator cards that there's a handful of these, not too many, but These show up when you're drawing to get prey and events and whatnot. A lot of the predators are just absolutely brutal. Like 9 and 10 values seem to be the norm, at least with the ones we found in the 2 games we played. And there's a really cool reward that you often get. For example, the scorpion, you get a +4 attack. That's better than any body part you're gonna find.
You just have to earn.
But I mean, the likelihood, it's certainly possible that you could beat the scorpion. There were others like with a 10, and you just could not have enough body parts in play and maintain them to be able to fight this. So a lot of the time you're just like, predator, flee, predator, flee, predator, flee. I think in one game Dan had drawn like 6 predators in a row. And he had to flee like every single one of them. So
it was a sad day for my Raptor.
The other combat that takes place, and I'll get back to the issue I have with this, is player-on-player combat, where you can fight each other and either steal body parts or babies. The issue I have is that it's, you add up your base stat plus the modifiers from your body parts. That's the deciding factor. So you're just like, my attack is 6, your armor is 5. I win. Just no random effect, no chance at all. And the fact that this can be sustained for turn after turn. So in our play session, you see me basically get bent over the table. For like the first 3 turns, I'm just constantly victimized because I don't have any body parts out to defend myself, and the game really wasn't changing. So even I was thinking about this last night, and I'm thinking a die roll, a coin flip, even fudge dice, which are just it's minus, blank, and plus. Like even something as simple as that would add a little bit of chance. You're like, I have an attack of 7, you have an armor of, 5. I'm confident that I could attack and defeat you, but this is certainly not a given. Or the possibility you're like, I have an attack of 9, you have an armor of 3. It is certainly possible, albeit unlikely, that the defender could actually fend the predator, the dinosaur off. That was really the only thing I found was really lacking. Because it was just sort of there, you're just like, I attack, and you just sort of almost reach over and take something from them because they're defenseless. So.
I wouldn't say that that's something that would be the best one for it. Personally, my thought is, if you wanted to change it a bit, would be to add a flee mechanic. You can flee from predators. Yeah. So if there was something to allow a random chance at being able to flee from, say if your speed is higher than the other.
That's a good point. Yeah, because speed only really comes up when you're drawing from this deck. That's a good point. That there are a lot of mechanics that can add to this that would allow you from just constantly being victimized by someone who's doing better.
Well, when you're fleeing from a predator, it takes 200 calories. It could always be, if you have some left in your stomach, you can then spend them not to be victimized.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways that it can be looked at. I just really found that was a point of the game where you're just sort of like, I wish I could do something.
This all stems from Brian going for about 3 or 4 rounds where he had literally nothing on his Velociraptor.
Well, I felt this when we did our early test game yesterday. I felt the same way.
I'm gonna have to disagree with Brian, just because I got into a bad position where I fought a predator, and if you lose with the zombie, you get its head, which lowers your draw to 1. And even through that, that was a pretty big uphill climb to get out of. So I can start building again. I can get more calories. I can have children. I can start getting back in the game. I was able to do it within 2 turns, I think. Yeah.
But at the same time, once people started reproducing, babies went around, everyone's attention kind of turned to you because you were kind of sitting on all the babies. So having some kind of rule or effect that would allow you to either flee or defend yourself, I think would add to the game and make it a little bit just less like, I attack, I win. So, but like I said, I mean, that was really the only thing in the rules that stuck out at me. That could have been really improved. One thing I did want to point out, and this is something funny I noticed when you're doing our test game. When I was cutting out the cards, let's see if I can find another one. They sort of all had these different backings, and I didn't really understand what that was, and I'm just like, oh, is this just... They just wanted to throw some pattern on the back and, you know, see what happened. And then I noticed when we were actually playing, the position of the card lines up almost perfectly with the background itself. So I thought that was actually something really neat that, even though this is a playtest version and it doesn't have full graphics, that was something that really stuck out at me for even the design of this. It was a well-made, well-designed playtest. On top of that, all the cards that you can draw are really visually different. Different colors, different designs. So again, that really strikes me. Even though it's a playtest, there's a lot of quality behind it.
Yeah.
So.
And all criticisms aside, this is a game that is extremely fun
Oh,
and
yeah.
deserving of your support.
So, well, here's a burning question. Who do you guys think would like this?
I think this is actually very suitable as a party game. Like, have a few buddies over and just go wild, because the combinations you create for your creature, you'll be scratching your head for a while.
Oh yeah.
Trying to figure out how this abomination of nature was ever created.
I would disagree a little bit. I think it's more of like a gamer party game. The rules are sufficiently complicated enough that I think it would... It's not really a party game. It's not something you can just sort of like dive into and get going. But I think definitely among gamers who are used to rules like this, absolutely, it's something you kind of sit down and you're like, hey, let's kill an afternoon. Let's play
Velociraptor Cannibalism!
Let's play this completely ridiculous game. I think kids could enjoy this, particularly with the artwork. I think kids would have a lot of fun just creating these wacky aberrations on their raptor, and kids like dinosaurs, so that's cool.
Yeah,
Themed with my hat, you can actually create a horrible abyssal monster with nothing but tentacles.
Oh yeah.
yeah. So I agree with Brian. I definitely don't think it's an entry-level card game, but if you have any interest in any kind of any other card games that are like take any kind of skill, anything where you gotta do basic math in your head, you need to keep track and strategy of what other people are doing. As long as you're able to plan, I think it's a great game, especially for people like us who like playing role-playing games, strategy, all that. It has it all, and it does it in a really cool way. You have lots of good humor, you have lots of interesting effects. The environment's constantly changing, so you have to adjust for that. It's really good.
I think as a side note, there is a lot of card-specific effects that take place, so it could be tricky for some kids, or perhaps someone whose first language isn't English. But if you had a crib sheet and maybe corresponding graphics, it's certainly something that someone could follow along with.
The English thing, that's not a deal. It's a simple matter of translating it into the other language.
Not as easy as it sounds.
Yeah, probably.
But with a crib sheet, I think you'd definitely be able to follow along.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, go to their Kickstarter webpage. We'll have it down below, or apparently between Jordan's arms. Be sure to watch the video. You'll be laughing your ass off, because it is one of the most beautiful combinations of horrible animation, even worse voice acting, and one of the best nature documentary voices I've heard in a while.
You'll also get a good glimpse, a little better idea of what the game looks like itself, and get some hints about what it'll look like once it's produced. So.
All right.
Cool. That's Velociraptor Cannibalism. Cheers.